In the 17th century, India was a land of fragmented kingdoms, imperial conquest, and turbulent power struggles. Dominated by the mighty Mughal Empire and other regional forces, the Indian subcontinent was a battlefield of competing ambitions. Amid this chaos emerged a leader who represented hope and resilience, Shivaji Maharaj, the legendary warrior king of the Maratha Empire. Shivaji defied the odds to establish a kingdom, and his story is one of courage, strategy, and unwavering determination. Keep watching to explore the legacy of Shivaji Maharaj, the warrior king of India. The story of Shivaji Maharaj. At the time of Shivaji's birth, India was under Muslim rule, the Mughals in the north and Muslim sultans Bijapur and Golconda in the south. All three ruled by right of conquest, meaning they imposed political rule over a territory and its people after a military victory, regardless of justice. Thus, Shivaji was born into a world full of powerful leaders and little justice for conquered people. Shivaji was born on February 19, 1630, in the hill fort of Shivneri, nestled within the Sahyadri mountain range, also known as the Western Ghats, in present-day Maharashtra, India. These rugged hills and dense forests were not just a backdrop to Shivaji's childhood, but a formative influence on his life. The Deccan Plateau, with its strategic forts and challenging terrain, became Shivaji's first training ground. Shivaji's father, Shahaji Bhonsle, was a respected general who served various Deccan sultanates. His mother, Jijabai, was a guiding force in his moral and spiritual development. As a devout Hindu follower, she nurtured Shivaji with stories of ancient Hindu epics, instilling in him a deep pride in his heritage and a vision for a free kingdom ruled justly. Even as a teenager, Shivaji displayed remarkable leadership skills and a keen understanding of military strategy. This may have been due to his father's influence as an accomplished military general. At about 16, Shivaji launched his first campaign by capturing the Torna fort in 1646. This marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey to establish a kingdom based on Swaraj, or self-rule, where people could live without fear of tyranny. After conquering the Torna fort, he recruited a band of followers and began seizing weak Bijapur outposts. His daring spirit and military skill, combined with his stern treatment of the oppressors of the Hindu people, earned him much admiration from his followers and much hatred from his enemies. Shivaji's success was rooted in his mastery of guerrilla warfare. The Western Ghats gave him a natural advantage as he employed hit-and-run tactics, ambushes, and strategic retreats against far more extensive and better-equipped armies. His innovative use of mobility and terrain earned him the moniker Mountain Rat from his enemies. He embraced the title as a testament to his resilience and wit. However, it was likely meant to be derogatory and to belittle him as a military opponent. Although it's often viewed as a sign of the early underestimation of the challenge Shivaji would pose to the Bijapur and later the Mughal Empire, he embraced it and continued to wear down his opponents one victory at a time. Throughout the 1650s and 1660s, Shivaji expanded his territory by capturing important forts, including Kandana, later renamed Sinagad, and Purandar, which would be the birthplace of Shivaji's son, Sambhaji. He understood that forts were not just military assets, but also administrative and economic centers. This understanding may have come from his upbringing in Shivneri, a hill fort. He would have been all too familiar with the importance and function of forts. Shivaji consolidated his power and secured vital trade routes by strengthening his control over these strongholds. Some of his most important battles were the Battle of Pratapgarh, the capture of Raigad, the raid of Surat, and the siege of Panhala. The Battle of Pratapgarh is regarded as one of his earliest significant victories, in which he defeated the formidable general of the Adil Shahi dynasty. It demonstrated his tactical brilliance and military prowess, marking him as a force to be reckoned with. Shivaji's growing power had alarmed the Adil Sultanate of Bijapur, prompting them to send their formidable general, Afzal Khan, to crush him. Afzal Khan, known for his brutality against his opponents, underestimated Shivaji. He tried to lure him out into the open under the guise of diplomacy. Still, Shivaji was aware of Khan's intentions and agreed to meet him in the forest of Pratapgarh under carefully calculated conditions. Both leaders met in a tent, each accompanied by a few guards. During the meeting, Khan attacked Shivaji with a concealed weapon, but Shivaji had come prepared. He wore chainmail armor and carried a concealed weapon called a tiger claw. With this weapon, he retaliated quickly and fatally wounded Afzal Khan. Shivaji's forces then launched a surprise assault against the unsuspecting Bijapur army, marking a decisive victory. This would have drastic consequences for Shivaji. The capture of Raigad was a great example of his focus on forts. Situated on a strategic hilltop, the fort was considered nearly impregnable due to the cliffs and rugged terrain that surrounded it. Its conquest required not only military might, but also careful planning. Once captured, Raigad would serve as the Maratha Empire's capital under Shivaji's reign. It became a hub for the Maratha Empire's administration, trade, and military planning, and Shivaji would later be coronated here. His ability to conquer this fort, seen as impregnable, demonstrated his unwavering determination and his ability to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Shivaji led a daring raid on the wealthy port of Surat, located in Gujarat. It stunned the Mughal Empire and established his reputation as a bold leader. Over 3 days, his forces looted immense wealth, including silver, gold, and precious goods. Despite the efficiency of his attack, Shivaji ensured that his armies did minimal harm to civilians. The raid filled his coffers, but it also proved that he could strike deep into enemy territory and establish his reputation as an ethical leader. Finally, the siege of Panhala, another fort, was one of Shivaji's most impressive military maneuvers. Shivaji and his troops were occupying the fort, which was under siege by Ali Adil Shah's forces, who vastly outnumbered Shivaji and his army. Shivaji endured the prolonged siege while devising a plan to escape Ali Adil Shah's army. While his troops launched an attack as a diversion, Shivaji and a small group of his followers managed to outmaneuver the enemy's forces and escape from the fort under the cover of darkness. However, Shivaji's rise drew the attention of powerful adversaries, particularly Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. After defeating the Bijapur general Afzal Khan at Pratapgarh, Shivaji caught Aurangzeb's attention and anger. Overnight, he had become a formidable warlord. He had claimed a victory against 20,000 men and killed their general, and now possessed the horses, guns, and ammunition of the Bijapur army. Alarmed by Shivaji's rising strength, the Mughal emperor ordered his viceroy of the south to march against Shivaji. Shivaji's victory at Surat only provoked the Mughals and their emperor further. A series of skirmishes and confrontations between the two leaders culminated in 1666, when Shivaji and his son were invited to the Mughal court in Agra. The most prominent general of the Mughal army was sent, along with an army of 100,000 men, to confront Shivaji. When the two men met, Shivaji was compelled to sue for peace and be accepted as a Mughal vassal. Suing for peace meant that he agreed to an act to initiate a peace process. For Shivaji, that action was becoming a vassal state of the Mughal Empire. What was meant by a gesture of diplomacy turned into a high-stakes trap, as Shivaji found himself under house arrest at the Mughal court. Yet, in a daring and cunning act, he escaped. According to legend, he smuggled himself and his son out in 2 large fruit baskets. After surrendering to the Mughal forces to be put under arrest, he pretended to be ill and began sending baskets of fruit, sweets, and bread to beggars and those in need as a form of penance to aid his early recovery. According to the myth, he squeezed himself and his son into 2 separate baskets of sweetmeats, hanging from a bamboo pole on the shoulders of porters. He was then carried away without being detected by the guards on duty, and his escape went unnoticed until the next day. He purportedly eluded the search parties by heading south in the opposite direction of his home in Maharashtra. While much of this tale may be mythological, his escape cemented his reputation as a resourceful and determined leader. Upon his return to the capital fort of Raigad at Maharashtra, Shivaji redoubled his efforts to strengthen his kingdom. In 1674, he achieved a historic milestone, his coronation as Chahapatri, or sovereign king, of the Maratha Empire. The grand ceremony, held at Raigad Fort, was a declaration of his sovereignty and a cultural renaissance. It, and the rest of Shivaji's reign, celebrated Maratha's identity and Hindu traditions, reviving Hindu rituals, court ceremonies, and literature. After being crowned Chhatrapati, Shivaji's administration was groundbreaking in its emphasis on justice, welfare, and efficient government. He implemented land reforms, established a disciplined revenue system, and promoted trade and agriculture. One of Shivaji's most remarkable achievements was the establishment of a formidable navy. Recognizing the importance of maritime power, he built a fleet that secured the western coastline against foreign invasions and piracy. This naval strength made the Maratha Empire one of the first in Indian history to project power over the seas. Shivaji also had a notable respect for women. exemplified in his relationships with his mother, Jijabai, and his wife, Saibai, and a commitment to ethical conduct in war that set him apart from many rulers of the time. He enforced strict behavior codes among his soldiers, ensuring that women and non-combatants or civilians were treated with dignity in conquered territories. Moreover, though he was deeply rooted in Hindu traditions, Shivaji practiced religious tolerance. He employed Muslims in his administration and formed alliances with diverse communities, not excluding others based on their religion. Muslims were in influential roles in his administration, such as admirals or commanders, proving that he genuinely practiced religious tolerance. Despite his incredible success, the challenges Shivaji faced were immense. The Mughal-Maratha conflicts intensified throughout his rule, and he encountered endless betrayals and shifting alliances and struggled against the overwhelming resources of his enemies. Despite these obstacles, Shivaji's charisma and strategic brilliance enabled him to inspire his followers and sustain his kingdom. Shivaji passed away in Raigad Fort at the age of 50, and the cause of his death is still a matter of historical debate. Some sources suggest he died of a fever, while others propose the possibility of poisoning. Whatever the cause, when Shivaji passed away in 1680, he left behind a legacy that far outlasted his lifetime. His successors, though faced with numerous challenges, carried forward his vision. Under leaders like his son Sambhaji and later Peshwa rulers, the Marathas became a formidable force that played a pivotal role in shaping Indian history, eventually challenging the Mughal Empire's dominance and influencing the political landscape of the subcontinent. Shivaji Maharaj's story is not just about conquests and battles. It is a narrative of resilience, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to justice and self-rule. His life continues to inspire millions, symbolizing the triumph of determination and vision in the face of adversity. Today, he is a respected historical figure in Indian history. He is remembered as a visionary king known for his valor, incredible foresight, and strategy as a ruler. His contribution to Indian history is too great to be ignored, and the historical impact of his struggle to establish the Maratha Empire continued for centuries after his death. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about India and more of the legendary people in its history, check out our book, History of India, an enthralling overview of significant civilizations, empires, events, people, and religion. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. If you found the video captivating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.